Allow yourself to get lost in the night. Let your mind run free, entranced by the vibes. But never let yourself become a victim to the high, you little bitch.
Do I leave or stay on? Think I've gotta make a choice, cause I think I've gotta change my ways. I've been smoking, probably just paranoid, but I still hear the voices say it's time to grow. Live less excessive, maybe take it slow. I'm stoned.
Casey Burns,
What's up, man?
thank you for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
So where we are right now? Where is this?
We are at Serotonin Studios, owned by Mr. Simon Petracki. It's where I record like all my songs that have been recorded in the studio were recorded here and mixed.
Okay, and you're talking about the last album that you just
Last album and the EP before, Let It Linger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about your last album.
Don't Look Down or Let It Linger?
Both?
Okay. Are we gonna start with Let It Linger?
Sure.
Okay. Let It Linger was like when I decided to like do music, and I was like, it kind of came about because like I'd recorded a bunch of shit on like GarageBand and like just like mixed it myself. I barely even knew what like mastering was. Like they were mostly unmastered and everything, and then like they got like good responses. But I didn't even like think about like making it like a professional thing. It wasn't even in my mind. So like I was just like recording it, putting it out like purely for like fun. And then I was just like, fuck, like people are actually responding to it well. Like they're like, yo, you make dope music. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna like do it like at a nice ass studio. So I just Googled this place. I Googled like Studios Montreal, came here, and then like from like when I left, I was like, oh shit, I have this one like really like nicely mixed thing. And we did it like pretty much in one session, which is like pretty much like that's the only time I've ever done it, because I wasn't like really like meticulous about like how the mix would sound and everything. It was maybe 2 sessions, but like so then from there I was like, oh fuck, like I should make a whole like EP, and it was gonna be called like some next shit, like some really cheesy like If I Never or something, like some stupid shit. And then as like I made the songs, it got like more like genuine, like, you know, like less like bullshitty, and then yeah. And I was Let It Linger, and I yeah. I don't know.
And so did you record that in Toronto or in Montreal?
Here, that was all here.
It was all here?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And so what about Don't Look Down?
Don't know how much longer I can do this. Stuck in the schedule, nights I can survive, or days I can get through. I gotta make this end soon. This 9-to-5 prison, wear a fake smile just to hide how I'm feeling. Like, don't you wanna break free? Tell me, do you feel it? Are you really satisfied with the life you're leading? Who wanna know the secret? Really, we ain't gotta live this life. No one's stopping, baby, limit is the sky. So fuck it, we can fly. Baby, we can dance on the road where we racing destination. I don't know, fuck it, baby, let's
Don't
just
Look
go.
Down. All right, where do we start? Don't Look Down was where did that like come from? So basically I dropped Let It Linger, and then I was in this like CBC competition. It was like the Song of the Six, like about like making a song about Toronto, and that like turned out like pretty fucking good for me. Like I mean, like a lot of like new people heard my music. Like they put it on like the news and shit. Like they showed a little clip or whatever. Got some cool contacts out of it, and then that was when I was like super hyped up. I mean, I was like, that was 2 years ago, so I was like fucking 19. I was like, yo, I almost got 10 G's off this shit. Like this is my shit, and I was just like got the idea, like I need like an album, and I was gonna like kind of, I don't know, it wasn't like really for like to get like super popular, but I was like, I want to show myself that I'm like an artist, because like I always like I really like I kind of want to be like the kind of artist that I like fuck with, like on like a like I listen to like everyone, like I listen to all music, but I want it to be like the kind of artist that I would actually like admire, if that makes sense. So I was like, I wanted like a concept album. Like I love people that make like really like grandiose, like fucking lots of instruments, really like meticulous, like the mixes and everything. Like that's that kind of stuff. Like not that I necessarily listen to all the time, but that's the kind of stuff I really admire, that makes me go like, oh, like I wonder how they made that. So then that's where I got to the point where I was like, I'm like I didn't win the competition, which wasn't like a big deal for me. Like it wasn't like a big ego blow or anything, but it was just like it was just like, man, you know what, like I'm still young and everything. I just want to make something like really like good. And then and that's where I got the idea. I was like, I was gonna make a concept album, and I was gonna make it like a life story But like that was like the idea I had for it, but that just didn't happen at all creatively. Maybe like because I don't think my story's done or like anything. Like I was like, all right, I'm gonna like, where's like my childhood song? And then blah, 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 blah. And that just didn't happen at all. Like I couldn't make it. So I just kind of made what was out there, and then it kind of turned into what it was. And the first song I made was Annie, and then that came like super randomly because. And that's like a song about the breakup. It's like the sixth song off the album, the sixth. And it was about like, I was fighting with my girlfriend or whatever, and like I just made the song. And then I felt like it was, and I was gonna just drop it as a single, because people like, I was showing it to people like, oh, that's sick, like drop it. And then it kind of like was a kind of song, like by itself, it leaves like a lot of like, it's like the middle of a story. And that's exactly what it's like, the middle of the album. And it leaves like, and it was the first one I actually like wrote the lyrics to, like of the song. So I didn't really have anything else from the album yet. And I was like, oh shit, this leaves like a lot of like things this way and that way. Like in terms of the story, it's like a breakup. So it's like what happened before, what happens after. And then so I kind of built the like story, like the concept of the album, like around that song. And like,
said she would be lost if I ever had to leave. I'm already on my way, just forgot to leave the keys. No way to make me stay, girl, come get up off your knees. I don't mean to make you cry, I just call it how I see. I know we both hurting, baby, empty in the chest. That's just temporary pain that I'm certain's for the best. Drama got us going crazy.
And like I don't mean build, like I like sat down, was like, okay, this song will explain this song will explain this, but it's kind of like I kept it in mind as I kind of like shaped the next like themes of the songs or whatever. Like, all right, but like it was kind of like, why did Annie happen? That was like kind of like the question I was answering when I was kind of like making the album. Like, why Annie? Like, why that? Annie's a random name, by the way. It doesn't mean shit, but yeah.
But so let's backtrack a little bit.
All right.
So like we just said, Let It Linger, Don't Look Down, 2 great albums.
Thank you, man.
Really.
Thank you.
You know my personal favorite, Calling Chi-Chi.
Hey, Calling Chi-Chi.
It really
Who knows?
The music clip is amazing too. Gotta say that.
Yeah.
But if
thanks,
you backtrack, if we go down a couple years down the road, you didn't start off rapping, did you?
No.
Tell
Like
us about that.
how far are we going back here?
When did you get into music?
All right. So the first instrument I learned was the penny whistle. Like the little like fucking Irish flute. I'm half Irish, and I was trying to get in touch with my roots as a 6-year-old. No, I was just like they were around the house. That was like the first thing. I can't remember if I took like real lessons for that shit or like it was just like my dad teaching me or something. But anyways, the penny whistle. Then I learned the violin, and I was learning the violin for like a year, and then Aaron Chung, who's like the co-producer of the whole album, we made like pretty much every song together. He's like a real violin player, and we were like fucking 9 years old, and I switched schools to his school, and we became like really good friends. And I remember this so clearly. I was at his house, and like, you know when you're a kid and like your parents are talking to each other, and they're like, oh, like Casey learns the violin, but my dad was saying like casually, and then his mom was like, oh, like Aaron does the violin too, and then so they were like talking, and then Aaron's mom gave my dad the contact for his like music teacher, like for his violin teacher, and then we go, and this is like a super serious like violin teacher, like very like practice these days. I wasn't really into it, and I also wasn't very good at the violin. I wasn't a talented musician. And we had like a recital, and Aaron is like a genius, and he just fucking came out and like just killed it. And so I stopped playing violin that day. And and then I started rapping. I was like, yo, fuck nah. And then so from there, what happened after that? So Aaron was like super. We and Aaron had the same violin teacher, and we'd see each other sometimes at these violin things. And then we started like a band because Aaron was also playing guitar. And I forget why like I decided to sing because I was a pretty shy kid, and like, but and I didn't like singing in front of people till I was like 16, 17. But like I decided to be it was like a very like childhood like 11, 12-year-old like who's gonna do what in the band type thing. And then so I just decided to be the singer. And then I did some singing lessons. Like I learned I did like Broadway singing lessons. And I was really into like rock and roll type shit. And so we were doing like covers of like Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix a lot. Like even like older like Little Richard, like Muddy Waters type songs, or just like blues jams. And that was like a really big thing for us, like at the time, just like as kids, because like we got to like play gigs, we got to like write a few songs. Me and Aaron busked on the street a lot. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And then it came to hip hop.
Yeah. I mean, like, how did that happen? So, like, until
How did
how did that happen? So, I was in a part of this rock band, and I really wasn't listening to much like contemporary music. Like, I was kind of like an obnoxious one of those like real music ended in the '80s type little kids, you know. And but when I was like younger, like my brother like had like all the good hip hop albums. Like I don't really think about it unless I think about it, but like he had like all like the classic like Jay-Z, like Eminem, like all the big dudes, all like and like Outkast and like the stacks of the CDs and like Lil Wayne and all that. And I didn't really like I wasn't too into it, but like looking back, like it was like around the house a lot. And so like I knew the track.
What you gonna do now with it? Yeah. What you gonna do now with it? But think about us, make us proud.